Greetings and welcome to the Act React podcast. I'm Daniel Burkholder, a dance artist based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the ancestral lands of the Ho-Chunk, Menominee, and Potawatomi peoples. I'm the host of this podcast, and actually today I'm recording this at the tail end of the National Association of Schools of Dance annual meeting somewhere in the desert of Arizona. In this episode, I talk with Jonathan Morris, and I'm really excited to share this conversation with you. Jonathan is a musician and a composer based in the Washington, D.C. area, and he and I collaborated for over 10 years on many projects, from evening-length works for my company to running a nonprofit called Improvisers to our epic 25-hour duet performance, Unmapped. It was wonderful reflecting back on those experiences, many of which are instrumental to forming and helping me form my identity as an improvisational artist. And then, of course, also to catch up with Jonathan's more recent artistic projects, including the release of a solo album, Resonance, Time plus Wood plus Steel. If you are not familiar with Jonathan, here's a bit more about him. Jonathan Morris has professionally composed and performed many types of music since 1993. His interest in combining improvisation and composition fueled his graduate studies at the Hartt School of Music. He has performed nationally from the Kennedy Center to CBGB's. Jonathan led the DC Improvisers Collective and the Low End String Quartet, and is a member of the instrumental rock guitar choir Boat Burning. His latest commercial release is Resonance, Time plus Wood plus Steel, a collection of ambient guitar music on Ramble Records. Please enjoy my conversation with Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, thanks so much for joining me here today on the Act React podcast.
Hi, Daniel. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Lovely to be with you today.
Yeah. So the question I kind of start all my conversations with is, how does improvisation show up in your life these days? Either professionally, artistically, as a parent, like where do you feel like it's located or shows up?
Where does it not show up would be a shorter answer, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that just like, well, every day I wake up and figure out what's going to happen. And I have no control over it, so I'm constantly improvising. I think it informs everything. That's like, yeah. I think one lesson I'm learning is that when I'm stressing about how to solve a particular problem or a challenge or whatever, I try to trust that, like, do I need to solve it right now? Or can I wait? The solution will present itself when the time is right. Trying to hold that. Like, when I'm ruminating on something, like, maybe I just wait.
That's a great lesson. I feel like I'm gonna write down a little Post-it note and stick it on the wall right here. Doesn't need to be solved right now. So I'm curious, maybe how does that relate to when you're in your artistic mode, when you're playing music? What's the relationship between that, what you just said, and when you're on stage performing?
Well, in that context, I'd say I don't have the luxury of ruminating on future problems.
Yeah.
Have to just deal with what's in front of me. Yes, I think it's a similar trust muscle. Like, what's going to happen? I don't know. We'll figure it out. It will work itself out if I trust that will emerge.
I feel like, yes, that there is that trust of that you have enough experience, you have enough skill, you have as the information comes to you, you'll be able to contribute, solve, participate, find something to do. And I think we both, as we've performed a lot together, not in a while now, but historically we performed quite a bit, and we've seen each other perform also. And one of the things I think conversations we've had in the past is maybe those artists who don't always wait and are kind of very verbose in their offering information, and that kind of contrast between giving space a little bit of things, a little bit of time or a little bit of space to kind of reveal itself and how you might contribute. There's that I feel like there's often that tension.
So what I've been trying to learn more and more is just humility. But like, what am I trying to prove something right now? Am I trying to show that I'm clever or something? Like, then no. Look, and I think I'm trying to find that, again, back to trust, or I'm trying to build this muscle to like just sit with something and not feel like I have to jump into another thing or have to make some, like, maybe I just played a thing and that's it. Maybe I should just listen to it for a second. It's all like this whole, my latest album is mostly like playing something and then sitting with it before I do another thing. And just getting used to that, and sort of having the courage to like say, oh, maybe that's enough. Maybe this one note is all that I need to hear right now. Yeah. So that's what I'm practicing. I'm practicing getting better at that.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. It's terrifying on stage. Say, well, all these people are watching, waiting for me to do something. I'm not going to. You just can play this one note. And when I'm done listening to that one, I'll play another one. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to learn to do.
Yeah. That's great. So maybe you brought up your album. I definitely wanted to talk about your album today. So maybe, and I also want to talk about some other things in the past as well. But maybe talking about since we're talking about like where you are right now, and the album is kind of the most recent iteration of that. Could you talk a little bit about that process of creating this album, which is essentially a solo album?
Yeah.
Of improvisational scores performed. So could you talk a little bit about how you develop that material and the frameworks that you're kind of working with?
Well, it was kind of haphazard how things emerged. Again, like things emerged at the right time. I have a neighbor who makes guitars. He rebuilt an old guitar. It was not super expensive. He lent it to me. I said, oh, this is the thing. I'm buying this from you right now. Like, it is my voice. Like I don't know how to explain that. It was just like, it's an instrument that has some mojo somehow.
Yeah.
Like, I played something. Oh my God, it sounded amazing. I wanted to play another thing. I wanted to play, okay, this is what we're going to do now. I'm just going to play this guitar and see what happens. Also, I discovered that I can't work at the computer. That like audio recording is mostly on computers now. That's how, like, for a lot of good reasons, like it was very powerful, but also super distracting. Like, I can't work that way. I have a standalone recording machine. It's like, back in my day, we had a cassette 4-track, and you could record 4 tracks on a cassette, and that was all you did. So I have a machine that essentially uses that same workflow. It's like recording on tape. You just push record and you play, and you can overdub, and it's way more than 4 tracks, and it's like no tape, yes, but it's that workflow. So I can't fuss with like making tiny little edits or, oh, if only this was whatever. It's like, no, I just have to play what I want to hear and then move on to the next thing. And there's none other computer distractions. That opened up the combination of this instrument and this like simplified workflow just allowed things to happen. Like, so all of a sudden I was, I made a thing. Like, I made a recording. I was like, oh, that's all right. I like that one. Okay, I'll make another. So just over time, like those things just emerged. I think also the standalone recorder allowed me to sneak in like little bits of time. I was like, I've got a day job and I've got family stuff, and like I don't have huge blocks of time to like sit and compose. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I have 20 minutes. I could just do something in 20 minutes and come back to it later or whatever. Like, it enabled that kind of there was then a capacity. But working with the computer, it was like, by the time I get it started up and everything, if I have less than an hour, I can't make anything happen. And with a simpler workflow.
Right. So that sounds great. When you were working with this flow and this new materials, what was your kind of process of creating scores? How scored were some of the pieces? Were they more open? Were they less open? Like, what was that part of it like?
Yeah, things were open. Like, I would get the seed, a germ of an idea, one chord, a couple of notes, whatever. It's okay. I'm going to use this little bit and see where that goes, And then after I complete that one, I have an idea for another little tiny thing. So I was just working with very small amounts of material and trying to make that and see if that was enough. That was kind of, I think that was the question I kept asking. It was like, well, can I make a piece out of just this or just that? And also, I, I love when music doesn't go anywhere. Like, I don't want to have, there's a lot of beautiful music that works this way, like
Right.
hundreds of years worth, that has some dramatic arc, that like things happen and you go, and there's a journey. I was like, well, what if I don't want to go somewhere? I want to just create a little environment and sit in it for a little while. Uh,
Mhm.
and then I was just looking at are there technical things that support that aesthetic? So um, I'm using a lot of like symmetrical scales, like a whole tone scale, or things that don't generate a lot of forward momentum. Okay. So like harmonically, the things just cycle around and around, but don't really pull in a particular direction.
Mhm.
So I would make a piece. Okay, I'm going to use, well, I don't want to get too into the like music nerd weeds, but
Sure.
French composer Olivier Messiaen cataloged the modes of limited transposition. And they're essentially like the symmetrical scales. So I would write a piece in like Messiaen mode 3, another one in mode 4, and whatever. And I found a way to tune the guitar that was like facilitated Messiaen mode 5. All right, let's try this mode 5 tuning for a while. All right. So there's those little simple starting places would just fuel like 3 or 4 little sketches. Just keep going like that.
That's great. That's wonderful. And so were most of the pieces, um, how many, like you said that you could do multiple tracks, like how, and you said also you wanted to kind of keep going and like, when is enough and all of that stuff. Like, so in terms of the kind of textures or layers in pieces, was it just a couple tracks? Was it many tracks? Did it vary? Like, how did you make that to like figure out like what, I assume there's an intuitive part of it, just like that seems like enough, but just, yeah.
Yeah, I try not to get too deep into overdubs and layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything in this collection that's more than 4 layers.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't want to keep adding and adding. Because if the piece that doesn't have like character, like adding more isn't going to fix it. So it was just a matter of like, there would be one main thing, and then if I wanted to add a little decoration, I would allow it. But I wasn't trying to like pile it on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There is a sense of like when you do too much, then everything after that is just more of too much, right? You can't keep adding things to save something that's too much.
Exactly. Exactly.
Also, okay, so I guess this is interesting because this is really about improvisation within the context of recording material and then having a thing that is a thing that was made through an improvisational process. But also, I know that you've performed improvisationally a lot, and I'm curious, like what drew you to that practice of going on stage and performing improvisationally?
Uh, I think what drew me to the process is not on stage. Like, I think
Okay.
playing improvised music with people is a really unique and special way of interacting with people.
Mm.
Like, that is I don't know, a pleasure that like only a few of us get to experience. Like, it's it's not a conversation. It's like different. It's not like, it's just a like. Well, there's aspect like just singing together is magnificent. Like, it's a way we can relate to one another in this abstract, really special way. So I love that. Um, and being able to do it, like, so just playing from a score with people is fun and it's nice. You could still connect and resonate together and stuff. But then to be generating something like a group of people generating this other thing that is like the composite, like, that's just right. It's delightful.
I agree 100%. I relate to that totally. And then how does that, I guess, like what value, I understand. So there's a value to you as the musician within that process and your relationship with the musicians. and stuff like that. What do you see the value of an audience witnessing this?
That's a complicated question, right? Because there are ways to do this it's a wonderful process for everybody who's in it.
Yeah.
It's completely meaningless to an outside observer. And so it's just, I think informing the process with the fact that like, okay, we are performing for people who are listening and we're all in this together. Like I had a funny experience last summer. So it was about a year ago. I heard a guy playing, it's a guitar-like instrument. I don't want to construct that. Anyway, it was outdoors. He's playing this thing. It was a long solo performance, very rhythmic. It was like had this real steady pulse, just like going and going and going on. And I was standing outside. I was standing kind of like this with my hand like on my neck. I didn't realize it at the time, but then I started to feel my pulse, and my pulse was absolutely in sync with his playing. I was like, oh, which is not like, yeah, you listen to music and your heart rate changes. Like we all know that. Like that's not a mystery. But it's like, oh wow, like I'm really like he's controlling my heart right now. And then I'm looking around like we're all probably experiencing the same thing. It's not conscious, not like I can choose to synchronize my heartbeat to the music. Like it just happened. Like, oh, we're all like he's controlling all of our hearts right now. And that kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, did I like wow, like being in the audience and listening is a commitment. But like you're giving away this control in a certain sense, like in a real physiological way and maybe in a more metaphorical kind of metaphysical way. I don't know. So I think there's on stage, I'll try to tie this back. On stage, playing improvised music, like I think we need to be conscious of the listening. It's hard to put a finger on that. Like it's very abstract.
Yeah.
But I think just having that awareness as you're working, that like there are listeners, they are listening, we are doing this exchange. I think just having that awareness shifts the performance in such a way that there's something for the audience, I think.
There's something about that I think is really, really lovely. And like, it's just kind of pointing out that the audience has made a commitment to listen or to be at the performance, whether it's music or other things.
Yeah.
And that we as an audience member, we're giving our time by choice to be there. And there's also something in there about then the audience's responsibility to not only make the commitment to be there, but to really be with.
Yeah, I think it starts to get into sticky situation. Like, people come to things like people come together for a lot of reasons, and it's easy to be on stage and feel like, people are just here to drink or they're just here to meet. Well, like if only they were like, it's easy to play in a bar and get super frustrated that nobody's listening. Like,
sure,
people are there for whatever reasons they're there, but I think when an audience is listening, the whole thing changes.
Yeah.
Or even if it's just some, like whatever, like when there's a real listener, like it completes the circuit and things. Yeah. It sounds very woo woo, but like,
no, I remember the choreographer / composer Meredith Monk, talking about going to Naropa University in Boulder, which is of course like a Buddhist university, and saying those were some of the most amazing performances because everyone was so present. Right. I mean, these are people that like practice meditation every day. So they're used to just like sitting and attending to a thing, right? Their breath ever. Yeah. And so she was just like, they're just so present with me because they were just all like trained through that.
Yeah. Well, so I go as a fan, I go to attend a music festival every year called Big Ears. And it's curated in a way that's magnificent. A lot of weird music from all over the world.
Okay.
Amazing artists come perform. And the audience comes from all over. It's a destination thing to go and like hear all this music. And so those performances take place in an environment where like the entire audience is there to listen. And like they are like serious about hearing what's happening. And that is like a world of difference from just going to a concert on a Tuesday. And, people are there for lots of reasons. Like when the whole place is like tuned in. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's in it because we do definitely listen to music, as you said, in all different contexts for all different reasons, and with all different expectations of how to be in a way. Think of some, going to a Taylor Swift concert and everyone's singing along and can barely hear actually Taylor singing is kind of the thing, right? And I'm sure I mean, my daughter's a Swift fan and she's gone to a concert and it was so amazing because like everyone is like connecting. That's really different than kind of what you're describing is this like this still with and really present, but like in this different kind of loop.
Yeah, sure.
And they're gonna, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I know like this part of all of this thing talking about performing with other people and improvising with other people and stuff like that is a lot is about collaboration in some ways. Like improvisational performance is the most, I don't say the most, but incredibly collaborative, right? Like it is the definition of collaboration. And so I'm curious about like how you think about collaboration, um and how like what makes for a successful kind of collaboration?
I wish I knew. I don't have like the secret answer. I think it's I would go with this. It's just people. It's like when like the people I work most successfully with are people I would hang out with normally. People like who just we share certain values. Maybe is that the indicator? I don't know. Like that there are connections like artistically and otherwise.
Yeah.
Um. Uh. I think when there are shared values, I think certainly like that kind of humility I was talking about, like that's important to me. It's important to me to like to play with musicians who are serving music and not like themselves.
Yeah.
That's an important criteria for me. Um, and I feel like as I'm getting older, like I can hear, like I can hear it. I can hear like the ego in the playing. I don't. That's weird. Again, like I'm trying to be so woo woo, but like
Yeah, no.
some some people like amazing musicians with amazing technique, love like it's just not for me. It's like there's too much ego in that, and it's a turn off for me. So I think those like being aligned on some certain values, I think makes it work.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like even bringing artists together that may not share like a same artistic history all the time, but having that kind of same sense is a different thing. Like I'm just thinking about as a dancer, dancing with people that maybe come from a more balletic or a more like hip hop world or different forms, and yet if there's a sense of kind of, as you say, humility or just like attending to the thing as opposed to like, oh, I'm gonna go do my thing, um makes a real difference. I mean, there's places where doing my thing is the thing to do, right? Like I'm just gonna,
At a certain point, you can't not do your thing. It's you.
yeah, it's you. But then there's a way of like just showing off that, like, that's a little different, I think. Um, or yeah, putting yourself in the foreground all the time. I think just to reference our history, I'm thinking of the one performance that we did at the store in Tacoma Park. Was it called? No, it was called Thanga, when it was in the little space because they had two spaces. When it was in a little space and we did that little performance, and I think it was like three musicians and three dancers or something. And there was a bass player, stand-up bass player. Um that played more notes per second for the whole performance than I can imagine. He was an amazing player, right? He was an amazing player. But it was just like for 45 minutes or whatever it was. And I mean, it obviously added a certain energy to the performance, and I think it was actually a really great I remember like lots of people showed up, and like people were really into it, and like it was very kind of that energetic kind of experience that night. Um, I do remember afterwards thinking, whew, its fingers must be tiger. Awesome. Uh, so I'm kind of looking at my notes here. Um, and so maybe that's a good entryway into thinking about our collaborations, even though they were quite a while ago. I'm wondering if of the times that so we created very specific works together, and we also had times like that were very open score, improvisational kind of events. And I'm wondering if, like, thinking now, 10, 15 years in the past, like, do any of them kind of bubble up for you? Like thinking about ones that seemed, meaningful or impactful or just like really fun or like successful, like whatever value or whatever kind of lens you want to use. But I'm just wondering if any of those come to mind.
Um, a few. There are a few highlights that come to mind. Certainly, I think the well, that long piece we did, uh, with the on H Street. I was playing clarinet.
Oh yeah, Buried in the Sky.
Buried in the Sky.
Yeah,
Like that it was big. It was a big undertaking because you did a long run. So we did that show every day for how many weeks, and it was I don't know, 40 minutes. I don't remember the duration. It was long.
yeah.
And I was playing an instrument that I'm not actually that good at. Like it was a lot of challenges all piled on, and like just showing up and doing that work. I remember like I was like, okay, we did it. We did it. I don't know how to like I don't know, was it good? I don't know. We did it. Like
Yeah.
And then there was a night at Songo that I don't remember how many, it was maybe 3 or 4 dancers, and I think I was just playing by my guitar. I don't remember if there were other musicians, and we were just locked in. We were just locked in. I felt like that was like one of the most successful, but again, like I don't actually remember it that clearly, but I remember that it really felt good. And similarly, there were a couple of like just rehearsals at Joy and Motion on H Street, where like when we were in the rehearsal studio and like achieved that kind of like some stuff just came up, and I was like, that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had, I think, without consciously kind of, I think, pursuing it in a way, I mean, somewhat consciously maybe, but just that we had, like, so we worked together for so many years and in so many different projects that it felt like we developed kind of uh, a, a really great working relationship and like getting to know each other really well.
Yeah.
And certainly for me, one of those highlights, of course, was Unmapping. And that was like kind of our biggest kind of, I mean, it was just the two of us.
Uh-huh.
And it was, we'll explain it here in a second here, but it was just this huge undertaking that put us both in kind of uncomfortable positions.
Yeah.
And but it felt like so many of the parts that we've been working on like came to fruition in that project. And it just pushed us into this really kind of especially in performance, like it took us to these other places that I think we had never gotten before in terms of connecting, collaboration, and just sourcing material. So I don't know. Do you want to explain what unmapping was for those people that don't know what it is?
Right. So we did it's a duo performance, two of us, which we did every hour for 24 hours. And it was, I don't know, they varied in length. Did we go 25, 35 minutes, I think, approximately of each hour? And there were some technical things. So we also, we rigged up the guitar so that it was wireless, so that it could function as a prop and be moved around. Like I could play it conventionally or whatever, and we could toss it back and forth, and you would play music for a bit. I had to get very out of my comfort zone. I was actually on stage as a can I use the word dancer?
say it. You can say
People saying that I was a dancer. But I had to step into that. Which, yeah, that was hard.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like you would set up the guitar so it was on this looping device that kind of faded over time, right? So we could play something and it would loop for a period of time and slowly kind of fade out. And so we were able to create again like these different layers of sounds. And we had different ways that we could play the guitar. So not just like traditionally, but I remember having the dulcimer kind of hammers to play it and some other ways that helped me to be able to make sound because I don't know how to play the guitar, but that opened that up for me, and this kind of moving back and forth between the roles that we were comfortable in, you playing music, me dancing, and then there was times where I was making music and you were dancing, and there was time the music was just like in the loop and we were both dancing, and then there's also times we're both around the guitar manipulating at the same time. And this idea of, again, getting outside of our comfort zone, like breaking down these barriers. And I remember specifically, I think, where the gist or the seed of this piece happened is that we were performing a duet performance. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And we were doing it very like we always do. You were standing up in the corner and I was around the stage. You're doing the music. And for some reason, I walked over and just came up behind you and started like touching you and manipulating and like gently because you were playing on the guitar and stuff, but kind of engaging. And afterwards, it was like, oh, that's something we could do more. And
I'm on the freaking stage.
like, yeah, why are we pretending we're in like the places? Yeah. And I think that was a great example also of being in this improvisational kind of mind frame and action of like, oh, just seeing the possibility that arose in the moment and then saying, let's explore this and see what happens. I think that to me is one of the great things about when you're performing improvisationally, because you think of things in the moment that you can then explore that you maybe wouldn't have considered or that you maybe even would not have agreed to.
Yes, that's true.
And you're like, you're going to touch me? I was like, yeah, really, I will. And instead you're like, oh, he's touching me. I now have to deal with this.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but certainly it is a way to generate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
No shortage.
For sure. So I'm thinking like as you keep, I know, as you mentioned earlier, you have a day job and but you're still making music, you're still performing, you're still, obviously deeply invested in that process. And I'm curious, like, what does it keep offering you?
Like a broken record, humility. It keeps offering me humility because the more I do, the more I learn. Like, wow, I got a long way to go. That's the first thing that just comes up always. I feel like, yeah, music is a hard teacher that way. You're never done.
Sure.
Also, and I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know how much of this I'm trying to figure out how to best to maintain an artistic practice and all the other aspects of my life. Yeah. It's just the time blocking required for that is, of course, difficult.
Yep.
But then also, I think it does offer, like, doing creative work that's not related to my job, I think does, like, it's still flexing a muscle that, like, informs stuff I got to do at work.
Yeah, sure.
The challenge I'm grappling with actually over the last couple of weeks is when I allow myself to do the creative work, it's hard to put it down. It's hard to like stop that. Say, okay, no, now I have to go to work now and focus on these tasks because I'm still thinking about the things I'm trying to solve from like, so I'm still trying to find the right balance.
Yeah.
But I my inner critic here's that says, oh, you're just justifying. Like, this is like your way of justifying that you're going to practice the guitar every day, but really you need to be at work. I think there's validity in like keeping the creative process active. I think it does help. Like in my job, there are my company serves nonprofit organizations. Right now, nonprofit organizations are all in a panic because the federal government, blah 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 blah, because we live in wherever we live now. So there are a number of challenges we're trying to grapple with, to find opportunities in this, where at first it seems there will be fewer because everybody's cutting spending. So what are we going to do? Well, what we're going to do is try to offer the services they need in order to cut spending effectively. Like, just to think about like creative solutions for all kinds of things at work, like that happens in the background when I'm doing. I keep pointing over there because I have physically divided my work. I have a small home office.
Yeah.
Right now I'm sitting in the little corner that is my job. That's where I do my work for my company. The rest of the room is totally devoted to music stuff. And I have a separate desk with a separate computer and a separate, and that little recording machine. These are all things I found I needed in order to keep both happening.
Yeah.
I do believe, I don't know how we'll measure this or what the real metrics are. I think that it's having the artistic practice helps to inform things that I have to do at work too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally can relate to that as well, especially in my current role here at the university as the chair of the department. I'm dealing with a lot of kind of more admin kind of stuff, and curriculum and staffing and instructors and like lots of those kind of things. And also we're under a lot of pressure also, like in just terms of budgets and stuff like that. And I definitely feel like when I go for a period of time where I'm not engaging my artistic practice, all of that gets much heavier and like stickier in a way. And if I can be practicing my art and in my body and like doing that kind of work, then I come back to the computer work with a little more lightness and a little bit more like, well, let's see, like, what if?
Yes. Oh, I love how you said that. I totally can relate to that. Exactly. Yes. The lightness. It makes those other problems lighter.
Yeah, it definitely.
Exactly. So nobody gets hurt if this proposal isn't awesome. It'll be fine. Good, whatever. It's fine. I don't have to get so bent out of shape about it.
Well, that's certainly like, I think maybe a nice place to end, because that seems like a very central like lesson of improvisation is like you do the thing and it is the thing and that's it. Like, you don't, it's different than composing something like note to note or choreographing something step to step where you're like, oh, should the hand be here? Should it be here? Should it be here? And like those can be really important questions in some artistic contexts, but improvisation lets you play with all those things, and they're all the right answer,
right,
in a way. So
yeah.
So Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with me. It was great to kind of hear your perspective and also just kind of think a little bit through our collaborations over the years. And certainly our relationship, our artistic collaboration is one of the highlights of my artistic life. So I thank you for that as well.
Me too. Thank you. And lovely to see you as always.
Yes. Have a great day.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Jonathan, and please check out his album. It's really wonderful and thoughtful and embodied. And also you can find some other albums by him earlier. I especially point you to the Low End String Quartet, which you can find on some streaming services. It's a really wonderful, really amazing, actually, collection of music. So as many of you know, episodes of Act React drop every Thursday. So the next episode drops on October 2nd. I can't quite say who my guest will be, so keep your eyes out on social media. Speaking of which, please follow our social media. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, and we've got Act React profiles on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be dropping video excerpts from previous conversations, as well as some fun and inspiring quotes, so stay tuned and keep an eye out for those. I look forward to sharing more episodes as the season continues, and until then, live spontaneously.